Excellent. All right. Sounds
Bo-
good.
Bottom line is we're here to have some fun. I'm wearing my fun earrings. I don't normally wear these, so they're kind of, when I put on my hoop earrings or my dangly earrings, it's a mindset to just enjoy it,
I
you
love
know?
I like that mindset to just enjoy it. I like it.
Yeah. Life is short. Let's make it as fun as possible, right?
I agree 100% on that. I agree 100% on that.
Super. So thank you for sending me the write up and a little bit of changes along the way. I appreciate that. I'm excited. Thank
No,
you for joining me too. I really appreciate you being here, Maria.
yeah, absolutely. Love it. I love it. It's about educating people, so I'm all about it.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yes.
So, oh, and I wanted to ask you, is it okay to do the video part of this on my YouTube channel? If not, that's fine.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's okay.
Okay, great. I do have some people who say, no, I've been stalked. I don't want to be seen. So,
Well,
fine.
that's very
I said, if you want to work on that and alleviate some of that so you can get your message out a little bit better, let me know. But I respect wherever you are.
they don't want to be seen and they're talking in a podcast and it's really they're halfway in, right? Halfway.
Yeah, they're doing their little bit to get their message out and promote their product without actually having the visual. And I know a lot of people do that. I had a teacher in England who had facial reconstruction that she was not happy with.
Yeah.
So she had an avatar,
Right.
a caricature avatar.
Yeah.
And that was what she used rather than actually seeing her face. It's very interesting.
I always had the issues with videos and cameras, but I don't have an issue if I'm speaking with someone, if there is someone.
Yeah.
I have it when me and the camera alone. That is where my issues were more now than ever. They were back in the past. Now I'm better at it, but I still have some demons. I still have the little demons in there, but I've practiced quite a bit that I'm like, you know what? My goal is to spread the word and help people, right? So I keep pushing on that,
Well,
so
it is. It's all about the intention. What is the intention behind having to stand there in front of the camera? And I had a wonderful mentor at one point, and she said, you know what? This is not unusual. I don't care who you are. You're going to freak out and you're going to do a terrible job in front of the camera. That's all there is to it.
that's it. You gotta suck.
And so she said, basically do it at least 40 times with
40.
absolutely no intention of anybody ever seeing it.
Right. Just to get it to it.
And just, it's like walking. It takes practice.
Right. I agree. It takes practice, a lot of practice. Yes.
Yeah. And so you may as well have fun with it. Hey, nobody's going to see this. All right, let's have some fun. I want to get my message out. So what is my message? And God, I don't have a clue what my message is.
Yes, I did the beginning of this process of getting over my rejection fear. I listened to a guy, he made a video, like he went 100 days of rejection. I think it's called 100 Days of Rejection or something on YouTube. So every day he did something. He went to and then said some insane stuff, asking people for insane stuff. So he basically went out to ask and some crazy shit, really. And about 50% of the time, he got a yes out of his crazy stuff. And, and by the end of this 100 days, he really felt like, okay, what am I doing? Right? I mean, this has no sense for me not to do because it was really an impediment for him, just like I feel like it still is for me in a way, but especially back then when I was looking to him and I says, Maria, you got to change. So I went to a 30-day challenge to myself. So that's what I did. I says, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to go to Facebook Live and I'm going to speak once a day about whatever it comes to my mind. It doesn't matter how I look, how I'm dressed, what the topics, I'm just going to go and say something. So I did that 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. Before midnight, I had to do it. And that helped a lot.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. I eased into it a little bit more there. Again, going live on Facebook. But I have a very small group that I'm hoping to expand a lot. I'd love to have you join us at Release, Recharge, Refocus. And I have like 32 people in there, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And most of them know me personally.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right, these are people, they know me and they support me and they love me and I love them. And so this is where I'm going to do my Facebook Lives. So for about a month and a half, I did it every day, 11 o'clock. I did my tips for releasing whatever was going on because it was COVID.
Yes.
That's why I started it. So I used tapping and I used energy releases and other things.
Awesome. You see, whatever it is, the thing is that like you and I are looking for solutions, looking for ways to kind of break down these fears, it's mostly fears, right? Would you agree?
It's all fear. It's all fear. And when you look at the fear and you address it, it goes away. It's
action. Action is what's going to destroy everything, really.
The lack of action.
Fears, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Action is always going to lead us to betterment. No matter what kind of action it is, we're going to unstuck, we're going to release the fear. But yeah, it's...
I think also having the right mentor.
Yes, that is important.
Somebody that you can trust and rely on to tell you the truth.
Yes, the truth. Amen to that.
In as kind and supportive way, because I only like to deal with people who want to find solutions.
Yes.
If you want to stay in your old story, you can try me out, but we're not going to be a good fit in the long run.
I'm the same way, Karen. So yeah, we are, yes, I agree 100% on that.
I love it. Oh, well.
I do my energy audits, a little conversation before every client, because if I don't feel that's going to go, it's not going to happen. If you're looking to be petted and saying, oh, poor me, it's not going to go with me.
Well, I like one of my amazing coaches. It was hard to take when I heard it. It was, yeah, Karen, I understand. I get it. That's horrible.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. Not one bit of it.
I hear you. No.
I hear you, but you know what? There's more going on here, and when you're ready to let go of it, then we'll move on. Yeah. So that's what I teach my clients now too, and I love it. I respected that. It was a caring, loving, and no, I'm not going to buy into your story because that's all it is. It's a story.
Yeah, there is a phenomenal book. Amazing book by a therapist. It's called Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. Let me tell you, Karen, you should make a note. I'm using a should because this is a spectacular book that I believe you're going to enjoy. Plus, maybe you want to recommend to a few of your clients. Maybe you should talk to someone. Lori, whatever her name is. She's got a TED Talk. I would go to her TED Talk first. And actually, I can pull her last name. Is Goblet or something I have here. Hold on. It is fantastic. First of all, she's an amazing writer. Two, is so freaking real because she's a therapist. And hold on. Okay, there we go. So, oh, let me stop. So it's a therapist, and her clients, right? Lori Gottlieb, Gottlieb.
Okay, Gottlieb.
Yes, thank you.
Lori Gottlieb.
Listen to her in TED Talk first. That's what I did. You might fall in love with her because I says, oh, this woman is good. And I says, what else about this woman? And
Yeah.
then I found a book that she had just released last year. I immediately bought it because she was so fantastic, in her TED Talk. And I sucked that book so fast, made cry, laugh again, reflect, cry again, all into one thing. But it is very real because she has the way she tells this story based on true stories is herself. What happens to her? She ended up seeing a therapist because she needed help, and then she mingles the stories of her clients into the book.
Ooh.
And I'm like listening to some of this stuff, and I says, no, is that people like that out there? I'm like, no way. I'm like, boy, I'm a good person. I'm really a good person, But no, but it made me think, I says, holy shit, what I love about the book too is because she brings the therapy side to the story, meaning the technical terms sometimes, on therapy, or in therapy, we say these people are like this, boom, boom, boom. We address this way. And then she talks about herself, forget about a therapist, she's like not using any of that because she's a normal person.
Yeah.
Fantastic book. I used, I did in Audible, because then I could listen when I work out, when I run, when I row, and all those things, or before bed, or when I wake up that I'm, making my breakfast or something. And so it's not narrated by her, by somebody with a very similar, because once you listen to her on the TED Talk, and the narrator that was picked was excellent. It's really, evolving to her. So anyway, just a thought, because
I appreciate that. Yeah, that is great. I'm always open, excuse me. I'm always open to discovering new things, and that is something I've not heard about. So thank you. That's great. And that is also why I'm very pleased. And I tell my clients, I'm not licensed. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. And I am very pleased with that because I'm not licensed, I don't have to follow the norm.
Yes.
And we can go outside the box and we can break through that grotto. Let's just do it. If it's something you want gone, let's just get rid of it. Come on, guys. And
right.
If it's not something you want gone, fine. Let's look at why.
Right.
How is it supporting you? Because we do not hang on to anything that does not support us somehow.
Agree.
So, well, want to get down to our podcast?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me today. And all right. And I don't know when this will be getting up there. I will get it up there as soon as I can, but I edit it all and then I add music and all that.
Once you do, let me know. So I would like to put it out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I will definitely do that. So, okay. Hey, welcome to Awesome Life Podcast. And today I'm here with Maria Horstmann. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Maria?
Great.
She is the founder of BFAB BU LLC. I love that. Maria is a health and wellness speaker, a coach, a personal trainer. She's a unique combination of 20 years experience in corporate America and personal health reinvention. She's also an entrepreneur and has tremendous coaching skills. She empowers stressed out, sugar and carb lovers to optimize their weight and health so that they can rediscover vitality, happiness, and lead a fulfilling life. She's been featured on business radio, ISSUU publications, PCOS Awareness Symposium and the Florida Complete Wellness. And really cool, I just learned she's also co-authored America's Leading Ladies with Oprah and Melinda Gates, excuse me. Her mantra to herself and others is living life with joy, energy, and health is the best gift that you can give yourself. So is it any wonder I wanted her on Awesome Life podcast? That's what it's all about. So today, Maria's going to help us and share with us information about stress and strategies to use stress to our advantage. A lot of people don't realize that you can do that. So I'm excited, Maria. Thank you so much. Tell me a little bit more about yourself. How did you get into all of this?
Yeah, hi Karen. It's awesome to be here. It's a pleasure to be part of your community and help give a little bit of the bits and nuggets, to help people live a vibrant life. Yeah, I got into this because it was almost 10 years ago. I had a little conversation with myself. I call a come to Jesus conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And that was driven because I was single. I'm still single. And I'm like, God, single, family in Brazil, nobody around except myself, living alone, and no kids. And I says, well, I'm not going to have a kid just for companionship or unless I have the right partner. And that was not flowing. You know what I'm saying? And what is aging to me, right? And around the same kind of time, those commercials that have like those older ladies that fall into the kitchen and they cannot get up.
Yep, I've fallen and I can't get up.
I cannot get up, and then the phone and all that, they're found alone and they're freaking out. All those things were going on around the same time. And it says, how about if I age here alone? What is that going to be? What is my life going to be on my 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever? I don't care much about when God is going to take me from here, but it's really the quality of this when. Between now and day, how I wake up every day. And I'm a very, I have introvert in me, but I'm a very extrovert person. I gain energy from people.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to travel. I like to exercise. I like to live life really to the fullest as much as I can, and outdoor stuff, and do some crazy bungee jumping and things like that. I know, I love it. And I says, how can I do that? How can I continue this the longest I can? And then that's when I have the introspection and looking into me. At the time, I didn't know, but I had pre-diabetes. I was a sugar addict. That was definitely part of the story. I also had eating disorder. I would overeat and I would,
purge.
Mm-hmm. Purge, exactly. I did that to control my weight. So the weight battle has been, not that I've been obese or anything like that, some overweight, but the mind has been really disturbed since very young. I look at my 15-year-old birthday and the first thing goes is I see a belly. I see a belly in that picture. And honestly, I don't know where this conversation about weight started, but I always remember this being a problem. So I control my weight by doing that, so depriving myself, or my diet was terrible. It's diet really, because it's a yo-yo. It was terrible. There's no nutrition whatsoever. So eating disorder, pre-diabetic, I grew up with chronic digestive issues and just got worse when I came from Brazil here. And I came at 21. So basically because I switched even more to sweets and healthy foods, right? So I said, then I look at my mom. Oh God, a lot of the things that I do are driven by my mom's health, which I don't want to get there ever. I'm doing my part, and I became then obsessed in a way, for a while on this. And I went to study, and then I started applying those things, and I started shifting. I started changing. And to me, it was like mind blowing. I was so much into the science, reading books, health summits, all this crazy stuff, and got to a point I says, time out. I was going like kind of nuts over here in my head, where you spend your Fridays, Saturdays, weekend reading books about nutrition, hormones and stuff. And then I had a few, so then I start, getting way better with my habits, changing every aspect of my lifestyle and health. And then I was in career. I had a corporate career for many years. I was in finance for the last 9, 10, very stressful jobs. I had a few, especially one boss that was really like, this is not the way for me to continue. If this is what's going to take for a woman to be in power, because I was working directly under CEOs and CFOs, and it says, I don't want this. It was extremely stressful, became chronic stress. You go to work and you're like already like this. So, events turned to me to say, you know what, I gotta maybe try this out, because I was gonna have to change jobs. And I said, do I want to start all over again? And I had already started my health coaching, kind of learning, and I was already in the personal training. I says, that's the easiest thing that I can do, to get into health. So one day I thought, one day I'll probably quit this life. That one day came a lot quicker because of this specific event with some powers ahead of me that I says, this is not what I want. I want to do something that I add value to people, that I feel good every day. And then came to health and wellness.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So you experienced stress. What have you learned with all of your studies and everything? What have you learned about stress? There are different types of stress, aren't there?
Yes, there are different types. There is practically 3 different types of stress, and we mostly talk about acute stress, the one that we all hear all about, because that comes from the demands and the pressures, of the past, and even anticipated demands and pressures of the near future. Did you hear the word anticipated?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is an acute stress. It's also thrilling. It gets you excited, get your heart rate up, and blah blah blah. In small doses, it's okay, right? But it can become a little bit too much. It can become exhausting if you have this up and down, up and down, up and down. So the acute comes from these demands and pressures of day to day, like I had it, at work basically every day, right? But when it doesn't alleviate, right, can become to what is called, episodic stress, acute stress. That episodic acute stress is more frequent. So that is when the lives are kind of disoriented, by seeing chaos and crisis. That happens more often. So just think about it. I don't know, Karen, I've been out of the corporate, for almost 6 years now, right? But the chaos in some companies that I work for, the chaos and the crisis was constant. And I do corporate wellness today. So I work with more smaller companies. Obviously, during the pandemic, they chose not to do one-on-one. But they bring a health coach there to kind of question the scenario, to kind of help with the stress and the daily, and think about the health and wellness of the employees, because it's really about the health and wellness of the company. So this episodic acute stress, which is another type, is where people don't relate to a name or anything like that. The person is always in a rush. It's always late. Boy, I was one of those. Always in a rush. Always feel like in crisis, right? They take too much. They take too much on, right? And so they don't know how to organize their lives, right?
Well, they're being pressured, aren't they? By their bosses. You have to do this, you have to do that. And because their bosses don't recognize either what's going on. And that actually creates more disease, doesn't it?
So, but it's not only the bosses. So imagine the person has, that kind of environment, and then you go to the home with kids. Or maybe you are a stay-home mom. I mean, my neighbor has 4 kids. When those kids are outside, I go nuts just looking. I cannot even imagine what it is, 4 kids, the small kids like they have inside the house. I mean, I'm like, and then the other day I was talking to their dad, and says, yeah, and he's talking to me and dealing with 3 kids at the same time, and I'm says, Maria, this is my life. And I says, I get it. But This people with this episodic acute, they're like aroused, they're short tempered, irritable, anxious, tense, right?
Mhm.
And so that impacts also their relationships deteriorate, not only at work, right, but in their lives with their neighbors, with their families, with their kids, the husbands, spouses, whatever, partners. It's
So
the
that really does, yeah, that really does affect not only their own bodies, but everybody around them.
yes,
And everybody around them is creating more stress as well.
that's correct. Well, it's actually infectious.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Let me ask you this. Do you know anyone who is always worried about it, something? Do you know anybody who is like, I'm worried about this, I'm worried, every time you talk to them, they're worried about something?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes no sense to me.
Person, that is likely that that person is suffering from episodic acute stress.
Okay.
When the stress is always there. So obviously the body cannot relax on that. So they have headaches, migraines, persistent tensions, chest pains. All those can be symptoms of this episodic stress, because it's just, compared to the acute, here and there and ups and downs, but the acute, you kind of relax some, okay, you go home, you have a pleasant place, you're not worrying too much. You leave, maybe you're able to leave the worries of work at work, or maybe at kids, you involve somebody else, and you're able to say, kids, let's play. Forget about everything. Forget about the chaos in the house. You see what I'm saying? You're able, maybe all personal skills, or maybe because you grew up in an environment that your mom, your parents provided that. So you're able to control that. And then the third version of type of stress is really the chronic stress.
Oh,
That is the one that is more impactful on the health and wellness of individuals. That person never sees their way out.
Interesting.
More miserable situation. And I know a lot of people like that.
So how does this, we talked a little bit about how it impacts your weight and your health, but can you expand upon that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the acute version, of stress, the overdoing and short doing, they're more psychological distress, right? Headaches, you might have an upset stomach. I had clients who would come, I have diarrhea, I have this and that and that. It was, and it says, how has been your week, right? And you start going back and say, well, has been a lot of stress. One client, I remember, she was writing her thesis, she was working with me, and then she had a husband, she was planning her wedding. So she was
all over the place.
All over. So she had headache and diarrhea. Okay, that was her symptom. So upset stomach. So those are kind of things, right, that will explode. So the acute is something that can be manageable. It's treatable with awareness and implementing some timeouts, I want to say. And we're going to talk more about,
So you don't have to take drugs for that.
Yeah, I would say taking drugs should be the last, ever.
Good.
Coach, I'm not here to propose drugs, but I'm not here to get out of them. But I'm saying is there's many strategies, and we're going to discuss a few, that is to take your full responsibility for doing that on your own, because those medications will impact their hormones in your body, right? And that's going to dysregulate other parts, and even sometimes at times impact the organs in your body, neurotransmitters in your body. So I'm not an anti-medication person. I think there is room for medication when situations are out of control. But there's many people who look for the way out, but the way out is short-lived, because that medication can actually come and bite you.
Yeah.
Sense?
That makes good kind of sense.
Acute, is stress, then the symptoms are more persistent. That headache, migraines, hypertension, chest pain, and even can lead to heart disease, right? Because you're always worried. So the body is always in constant stress, right? Now, for these people, unfortunately, often they don't see there is a problem. They just don't see there is a problem. And they actually think that it's life, or is somebody else, or is the boss, or is this. They blame the woes, on other people and external events instead of personal responsibility, because they've been ingrained into this for a long time. A lot of these people they're hesitant to change. So that is where maybe if somebody makes them aware of the situation, seeing a therapist might be a good solution. You start looking in working with somebody and looking into their lifestyle, right? From meditation and things like that. Now the chronic, that it can be devastating, right? From blood pressure, heart disease, blood sugar imbalances, is sleep rate, inflammation in the body, immune system. The chronic stress is the one that you go, for a long time, like we said, and it's constant. That is almost like it's devastating to our immune system, especially now during these times where, July 2020, whenever you're listening, look, July 2020, since March has been pandemic. We've been shut. So
COVID-19 is bringing on a lot of stress.
Right, it's bringing a lot of stress, and that's when we need the immune system the most to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
And the stress actually, you can see that can be a snowball destruction of our hormones that are even created, originated in our gut system. Right, from creating these imbalances, raising cortisol in the system, disrupting neurotransmitters, all those things. A simple serotonin, which everybody know that is like the depression, sleep. If you lack that, a lot of people associate with depression. Serotonin, 90% of that is made in the gut.
Really interesting. I did not know that. So let me ask: is there anything good about stress?
Yes, there is a lot of things good about stress.
Cool.
So first, we got to change the perspective about stress. So let me tell you about a study. I'll mention a couple of studies here because this was phenomenal. So they studied about 30,000 adults, okay, for 8 years. And they ask, okay, how much stress have you had in the last year? And another question, so all those, okay, a lot of stress, whatever. The ones that they picked that had a lot of stress. And the next question is, do you believe that stress is harmful? Listen to this. The people who experienced the stress and believed that was harmful had a 43% increase in death rate.
Wow.
Compare to the people who experienced the stress but did not believe that the stress was harmful. Actually, they had a lower risk of death. I mean, we're talking about the belief of something.
Beliefs have a huge part of it. That's why I tell my clients, don't believe anything I say. Just give it a try and notice the difference, but don't use those beliefs in there.
Right. So, so the thing is, the question here is, if that's, actually the funny thing is, when they did this study that was back on, I think, 2012, 11 or something like that, at the time, if these assumptions are right on this study, the death rate of a belief of stress was the 15th death rate in the United States, more than HIV, more than skin cancer and homicide. I mean, that is kind of funny, right? I mean, you're like, what? Are you serious? Right? So there was over 20 deaths a year because you believe that stress is harmful, right? So the question is, can the change of the mindset and how you think about stress make us healthier, right? So can that be? So, yes, the science tells us that is yes, and we can talk more about it. So there is another study by Harvard, and this is another good one too. So these were trained groups. So the positive group pounding. So they put these people, right, and they says, you're gonna believe over here that is stress is a good thing for you, right? And then the other one is not good for you. So they basically look and it says, okay, look, imagine if it's stress, what you're going through over here, they talk a little about stress, and it says the pounding of your heart is really to prepare you for action, so now you can go at it and get your project done. You can actually run from that target. You actually go to that finish line. You feel competitive against that next person next to you in a treadmill or whatever, you know. This is your heart. When you feel stressed out by any reason, is your heart is preparing you for action. In the other group, you know, they didn't say anything, right? And, you know, what caused was there was less oxygen coming to the brain. So there's physical, you know, changes in the body. So the stressful situation for those who actually said, okay, this is stressful, and they're going at it like the average population, you know, they feel the stress. What happens, the blood vessels thicken, right? So the blood vessels, you know, become constrained on that. So that is the correlation with cardiovascular disease. Now, those who viewed stress as helpful, you know, the heart vessels stay relaxed. Similar to moments of what, Karen? Joy and courage. I mean, they give me the goosebumps.
I love that. Yeah, that is really good. So do you have any tips or something that you can share to have us really address stress in a more positive way, something that we could do?
Yes. So, you know, there is another thing about stress that I really feel like I would like to mention too.
Of course. Yeah.
You know, and this is on the positive side of it. And it's more on education because, you know, we hear about this hormone called oxytocin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you probably know oxytocin very well, right? Oxytocin is kind of known as the cuddle hormone. You know, it makes you cuddle, makes you hug, makes you feel good about it. Well, there's multiple things about oxytocin. It's a narrow hormone. It fines tune, you know, in our brain to our social instincts. Okay, so what it basically does, it primes us to do things that actually gets us closer to people. We crave the physical contact. Now, let me stop right here and ask you, I don't know, you know, during this pandemic, are you more an introvert or an extrovert person, or you're half and half, maybe like me?
I'm a social introvert.
Social introvert.
So I need people. I want people. I love it, but I'm more of an introvert. Yeah.
So did you feel like, you know, that you craved some physical contact?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see people and say, oh, I want to hug you. Yeah.
So this is natural. This is the oxytocin hormone, you know, because we are alone. We're not alone, more alone. Like we don't have the external, you know, touches. We're not seeing people as often. We are craving this contact. So a lot of folks, you know, especially on the depression or on the chronic stress level, you can get to depression, more anxiety and all that. And the tendency, a lot of folks on depression, even if it's acute or chronic, a lot of times is to distance themselves. They are actually going against the normal part of the body. The body actually is craving you to talk to somebody. And once you allow, and I see this especially with the introverts more than the extroverts, you know, because they feel comfortable more on their own. So if you're now depressed, you don't want to talk to anybody. You know, I'm going to stay to myself. I don't need help. I don't want to bother anybody. But you are telling yourself those things, actually. That's not really what the body is telling you. You're going, you know, if you listen close enough, and if I say that I know that maybe you're going through a hard time, Karen, I says, you know, let me check on Karen. Yeah. And Karen actually answered the phone. And I'm here as your friend to kind of help you, lift you up, because most people want to help others. You're going to see that likely you're going to feel invigorated by that conversation, but you need to pick up that phone.
Exactly. Right. And follow that little inkling that you have.
Yes.
Make the call. And using that intuition.
And that intuition on the oxytocin comes through it too, because oxytocin is also, funny as it is a stress hormone as well. So it's going to make our heart pound, in a way, right? but is released. I mean, it's so amazing, but is released in a stress to respond, to motivate us to seek support.
I find that, and I tell my clients, a lot of it is a choice. It's a choice of how you look at it. It's a choice of whether you believe that stress is harmful or not.
Yes.
That is a choice. But it's also a choice, the effects of the body, that heart pumping, could be
excitement,
or it could be fear.
Yes.
So which would you prefer it to be?
Which one are you, talking about the strategies? That exactly part of the strategy. So I would like everyone who is listening to, when you feel that is stress, okay, I want you to take a small little break, take a few deep breaths, and it says, hold on a second, what's going on over here? Let's move from those individuals, who are stress is harmful, and stress is like, oh, the body's preparing me to go after that goal. That stress is that heart pounding, or that shock on the chest over here, is to say, hey, there is maybe some danger. Maybe you're on a dark road or something, or maybe you're driving over here and all of a sudden somebody cuts you off and you have that explosion, right? And you immediately you feel it. So hold on, this is the brain, this is the body saying, hey, pay attention. That's it.
Yeah.
That is, let's change the mindset a little bit from, oh my God, I'm freaking out, to, oh, something is going to happen, to, hold on a second, the body's telling me that I prepare. Let's now take a few deep breaths.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you're learning how to respond as opposed to react.
Exactly. Is not a response, acute, rapid response, but really is a way to strategically, which becomes then, if you practice this, it becomes a habit.
Exactly. It's something that does become your reaction because you have created it as a choice response.
Always go to that direction. Okay. It's just like, I hate to say this, but during this pandemic, and all those things, a lot of individuals went through the wrong side of the curve, right? They went into the news and the death and this and that and that. And this has been very real for people.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And there is absolutely no way that I wouldn't be worried. I'm worried with my mom in Brazil. There is so much I can do. But, the point is, you can go and constantly be fed by the news, be fed by multiple things that are going to continue to stress you out. Or you can say, what can I do over here to control this? Is that shutting down the news? Is that going for a walk? Is that doing meditation? Is that really writing? Is that speaking to a friend? So you see what I'm saying? What am I doing over here to change my reaction, my current well-being, how these things are impacting me, so to react in the future. So instead of thinking this is so negative, it's like, why is this happening to my life? What can I do that is going to improve the quality of my life during this downtime? Let's put it this way.
So you are looking for solution-based, and you're choosing to look for a solution to a situation that is not really healthy for you at this point. Maria, I would love, we're just going to have to talk again. That's all there is to it. I am so grateful. But our time is coming to a close here. And but before we go, how can people find you, Maria? I think they need you.
Yeah, no, there is so much to talk about that. Yes, I know our time here is short. There's lots of strategies that we can do, but I would say sometimes I take ownership. Let's pause. We need to pause, take a few drops and a few breaths, time out, and view this as a positive way, because there is always a silver lining in everything. I truly believe everything we do. So let's take that approach from the moment that things start, right? The moment that start. So the way that people can reach me, well, I have a website, and it's called befabbu.com. It's that BEFABBEYOU.com. So there you can sign up for my newsletter. And the newsletter is, normally I focus on monthly topic, like this month has been metabolism. So I do challenges, I do different things, I do ebooks. So when you sign up for my newsletter, you get in touch and, with all that. I don't put all that into my blog, but yeah, I have articles and all that kind of stuff in my blog. Then I have a Facebook group that is BFABU. But I hopefully you're going to put those links into the podcast as well.
Absolutely. I will put those in the podcast description.
You can find me at BFABU Wellness in Facebook as my page to follow me there. I'm on Instagram too. But if you go to my website, bfabu.com, then you can sign up for the newsletter and you're going to have the icons to stay in touch socially. And when you sign up for the newsletter, you also get some freebies. You get what I call a fun fitness calendar that I've been using since the day I created. It's on my fridge. It's awesome. I have fun with it. And then an anti-inflammatory shopping list. So help people to kind of, with foods lower the inflammation. So there are some foods that create more inflammation in the body than others. So does the stress, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, Maria Horstmann, I am so grateful that you joined us today. And I hope that you will again, because we could talk for hours. I can see that. and share with our listeners for a long time. So thank you so much for joining me today, and have an awesome life.
Yes, you too. It was a pleasure, Karen. I look forward to continue this relationship, and hopefully this add value. And as long as your listeners take one action, I always like this. What can I do? One thing. Listen to anything with an intent. And maybe go back to this video, or to this podcast, listen and says, what I'm going to do one thing out of this, so that can improve your life tremendously, especially when it comes to stress.
It's making that choice and taking that idea of there is a solution and I'm going to look for it.
Yeah. And sometimes, alone can be hard. So that's why, they hire coaches like myself. People come with for weight loss and health. In reality, a lot of times is actually breaking down this debris between point A and point B. A lot of it is really assessing life, looking into what I call energy zappers, energy boosters in life, right? Creating this space for them to kind of improve their nutrition, to improve, their sleep, to control the stress. So a lot of it is about life in general. So coaches will help with that. And exercise, obviously, it's one of my top choices to manage the stress. And people sometimes they're just out of, they don't know where to start, or they're afraid of getting injured. Like I work with women with bone health issues, and they're 50s, 60s and all that. So I provide a few opportunities for people to get started or to improve their health journey.
I love it. I love it. And our conversation, our video conversation will be elongated because we've talked so much and you've shared so much. So thank you. I will make sure that gets up onto the video, and I will let you know when it's up there.
Sounds good, Karen. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You are awesome. And I really appreciate it. You're in Florida, right?
I'm in Georgia.
Oh, in Georgia. That's right.
Yeah, I'm in Georgia. But, I don't have a single customer see me in person. Has been for several months. Not only because of COVID. So that's the beauty. I've been doing this online for a long time. So it's great.
And where in Georgia?
I'm in Atlanta.
In Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah.
Let you go, but thanks again, Maria. And I will let you know when I get this up, and look forward to another time, because there's a lot that you want to share, and I want to help you get it out there. So
yes, that sounds good to me. Sounds awesome. All right. Take care, Karen.
You too. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.